Welcome everyone to this series of webinars on sequential decision optimization with media mix models. This webinar series is tailored for marketing professionals and individuals working with business intelligence. It will feature content that spans from slightly to highly technical. In this session, our focus will be on the fundamental aspects of modeling marketing response. We will delve into marketing dynamics, Adstock, saturation, and synergies, and take a closer look at a simplified real-world model. Additionally, we will explore the challenges encountered when modeling marketing response, both in a general sense and within the specific context of our automated advertising service. The goal of today's session is to give you an understanding of what media mix models actually are and what value they can bring to you as an advertiser. Then, moving on to the next session, which will be slightly more advanced, we will discuss the difference between correlation and causation, two phenomena that can significantly impact analytics. We will introduce related concepts such as endogeneity and selection bias, common challenges in marketing analytics. We will also discuss causal graphs, designed to depict cause and effect relationships. Moreover, we will address the crucial decision-making following the usage of media mix models, such as how to experiment with new budgets optimally. We refer to this section as the exploration versus exploitation dilemma, and we conclude with a discussion on sequential decision optimization. We have just released a preprint of a formal report detailing our approach to optimizing marketing expenditure. This report, aimed at the research community, is technical and mathematically oriented. Finally, the last session will present and review the report's various concepts from a more technical perspective, catering to a technical audience. I like to emphasize that this session and the next session are tailored for marketing professionals lacking a technical background, while the concluding session requires a certain level of familiarity with machine learning, causal inference, and control. To my fellow developers, researchers, and professionals with a technical background, I strongly recommend delving into the report and attending the final session, as you will likely find it more captivating than the two initial sessions. Today, we will begin by providing an introduction to our company for those who may not be familiar with us. I will also take this opportunity to present myself for the ones who had not had a chance to meet me before. We will then transition directly to the exploration of media mix models. We will examine marketing dynamics, explore methods of incorporating them into our models, and address the challenges encountered in working with these models. As many of you may be aware, we provide an automated marketing solution designed to streamline the entire advertising process on digital platforms. Within our system, we implement numerous optimization techniques to maximize return on ad spend. This involves the application of techniques derived from applied mathematics and machine learning. Additionally, we have a dedicated team of customer service agents who offer personalized support and guidance. As for myself, my name is Maximilian Licke Agdur. I am the head of AI here at Amanda AI, and I've been working here for about 3.5 years focusing on applied mathematics. I also have ongoing studies at the Royal Institute of Technology here in Stockholm, just to keep up to date with the latest in machine learning. And my goal, along with Amanda AI's, is to stay at the forefront of data-driven marketing. And we aim to achieve this by combining a solid grasp of applied mathematics with a deep understanding of the marketing landscape. Moving forward, I will use the acronym MMM to refer to marketing mix models or media mix models. While there are some distinctions between marketing mix models and media mix models, I will not delve into those specifics. MMMs serves as a tool for advertisers to comprehend marketing effectiveness. Essentially, this tool allows you to input a mix of campaign expenditures, or impressions, or clicks, or some other predictive variable, and in return, you receive a predicted response, such as conversions or conversion value. This enables us to understand the effectiveness of marketing channels at different expenditures. Consequently, we can optimize resource allocation, aiming to enhance ROI and overall marketing effectiveness. These models have always been crucial for optimizing marketing expenditure and understanding effectiveness. However, they have gained renewed importance recently due to challenges such as the demise of cookies and tracking regulations. Previously, many advertisers relied on multi-touch attribution to understand marketing effectiveness. However, conventional MTA, as well as data-driven MTA, faces challenges, including a lack of consideration for impressions, difficulties in handling time-varying dynamics, and biasness towards lower funnel marketing. Moreover, it heavily depends on user-level data, which is becoming increasingly difficult to access due to tracking legislations and the decline of cookies. A trend that appears to be growing even more in the future. Thus, in the future, it will be even more important to steer away from user-level data. To grasp the nature of MMMs, consider the equation at the bottom. While it may appear daunting, especially for those unfamiliar with equations, it's actually quite straightforward. We input expenditure variables such as campaign costs to this tool, along with control variables such as, for example, pricing and weather conditions, and in return, we obtain a prediction of our sales and also an estimate of the baseline sales and the effectiveness of different marketing entities. The challenge lies in determining how the mapping, in this case represented by F, should look like, and moving forward, making decisions based on the information derived from our model. For instance, after running our media mix model, we might conclude that we can be 30% confident that a 10% increase in the paid search budget will result in a 10% sales increase. How we should use this information to make decisions will be discussed in the next webinar. In this webinar, we focus on the mapping F. The mapping F will contain so-called parameters that tells us how effective different marketing entities are with respect to different factors, such as the day of the week, the day of the month, or different expenditure levels. We estimate these parameters based on historical data of sales and expenditure. I want to repeat this once again so it becomes clear. The mapping F will contain so-called parameters that tells us how effective different marketing entities are with respect to different factors, such as the day of the week, the day of the month, or different expenditure levels. We estimate these parameters based on historical data of sales and expenditure. And that is really all there is to it. We determine which effects we want to map up, such as the day of the month effect or seasonality effects, and these effects are governed by parameters that tells us the effectiveness after we have factored in the historical data. We can then make predictions on future outcomes. In other words, we use historical data to predict the future. However, to be able to construct such mappings that make sense, it is vital to understand the environment in which we operate. Understanding marketing dynamics is crucial for creating a meaningful mapping between our expenditure variables and conversions or conversion value. In other words, which effects should we consider? The question we should ask ourselves are, what does the marketing effectiveness depend on? If we manage to establish this, it will be easier to interpret the effectiveness and take actions accordingly. For example, we could answer questions like, how much more effective is my marketing at Saturdays in comparison to Tuesdays? Furthermore, it reduces the data requirements. To be able to work with less data, we actually must make some assumptions about the environment in which we operate, preferably with a solid base in the marketing literature or theory. We will also be able to more reliably predict outcomes. For example, we might be interested in extrapolating beyond past expenditures. This means that if your previous spending ranged from 1K to 10K and you aim to increase it to 20K, we can provide a more reliable prediction of your sales at that new expenditure level. But also, what is the alternative to create these mappings based on our knowledge of the environment and marketing theory? The alternative approach is to treat the mapping as a black box without making assumptions about what factors drives marketing effectiveness. While techniques exist for doing this, they come with drawbacks. They are less reliable in extrapolation, they require more data, and they lack interpretability. So what exactly are these marketing dynamics that we're trying to map up? While a lot of categorizations can be made, we categorize them into saturation, Adstock, Synergies, and time variant factors, as these are the most prominent ones. Now we will discuss these factors, and then we proceed to discuss the overall marketing environment. Saturation refers to the diminishing marginal returns on marketing expenditure on sales, widely acknowledged as a phenomenon in marketing theory. advertisers often observe that they achieve the best return on investment at lower expenditure levels, while higher expenditures lead to diminishing returns, where additional spending results in worse ROI without a proportional increase in conversions. Focus on the red line in the plot. Assume that the y-axis, denoted as response, represents conversions or conversion value. And notice how an increase in budget from 0.8 units to 1 unit does not increase conversions as much as increasing from 0 units to 0.2 units. This is saturation. Several factors can contribute to saturation, such as insufficient reach in the campaign's ecosystem relative to expenditure, excessively high frequency, changing customer preferences, or even broader shifts in the world. Incorporating saturation mappings into our media mix models allows us to, first off, identify instances of overspending on specific marketing entities, identify growth opportunities, more reliably extrapolate beyond previous expenditure levels. This in turn lets us take action accordingly. For example, recognizing that increasing our budget for our brand campaign will not increase sales sufficiently, but instead the growth opportunity lays in Performance Max. It is crucial to note that saturation itself may be time variant. A marketing channel may initially yield great ROI, but this can decline over time as customer preferences change or a particular customer segment becomes saturated. In such cases, it is essential to ensure that our saturation mapping is time varying. Adstock, also widely acknowledged in marketing theory. It refers to the enduring impact of advertising on consumer behavior even after the advertising campaign or spending has concluded. It is grounded in the concept that advertising leaves a lasting impression on consumers, shaping their purchasing decisions over an extended period. In essence, the amount spent today continues to influence sales tomorrow. Adstock aims to capture this phenomenon. To further clarify, consider this scenario. If your spending on Tuesday led to an ad being shown to a customer who subsequently purchased a product on Saturday, Adstock enables us to quantify the impact that the Tuesday spending had on the Saturday conversion. It is generally assumed that there is a spike in effectiveness typically occurring on the same day as the expenditure, but it can also exhibit a lag. In cases where there is a lag, we observe a small decrease in effectiveness the days adjacent to the spike, with this decrease intensifying the further we move away from the peak of effectiveness. For example, campaigns focused on lower funnel activities like paid search are likely to experience a same day as spending spike in effect, while upper funnel campaigns may have a lag due to the time it takes for customers to progress from awareness to consideration to a conversion. It might be beneficial to allocate more budget to a specific campaign early in the month to generate interest, and then leverage this interest later in the month, for example after the pay dates, to maximize its impact. Adstock enables us to make these strategic budget plans. The last example introduces the combination of Adstock with a synergy effect, which we will explore in the next slide. Expanding on the earlier example, where spending on one campaign enhances the effectiveness of spending on another campaign, we refer to this phenomenon as synergies. A common instance of synergies is observed with platforms like Facebook and Google. Facebook is often effective in generating audience lists in Google, which are subsequently targeted in Google campaigns. By quantifying synergies, we can capture these interactions in a meaningful way and strategically allocate our budget to capitalize on them. The environment we aim to model is highly time variant. Or in other words, the marketing effectiveness is highly time variant, meaning that the effectiveness of our expenditure will depend on when we choose to spend. Additionally, the baseline sales, sales that occurred without marketing, will also fluctuate based on time-varying factors such as the day of the week, the day of the month, etc. For many of our e-commerce clients, there is a noticeable increase in conversions after pay dates. Also, events such as Black Friday tend to be more effective than normal Fridays. Some clients experience spikes in conversions following the distribution of electricity bills. Others observe spikes during weekends. Additionally, some operate in sectors where there is a declining trend in marketing effectiveness over time. To make use of these time-variant dynamics is crucial, and we must incorporate them into our mappings from expenditure to sales. However, To create truly effective models, we must comprehensively understand the entire marketing environment, encompassing the entire ecosystem. This includes where ads are displayed, the various interactions that take place, how customers progress from the awareness stage to consideration and conversion, and the types of ads they may encounter along the way. Additionally, understanding time-variant dynamics such as trends, seasonalities, cyclical effects is crucial, as it allows us to grasp how customer behaviors change over time or in response to events. In the next session, we will delve deeper into these concepts and present cause and effect graphs illustrating the marketing environment we aim to model. Having discussed various marketing dynamics to incorporate into our mapping of expenditure to sales, let's now take a closer look at a real-world model. This may seem daunting initially, but is much easier than what it appears. The primary purpose of showing this is to provide you with a tangible representation of what these models actually are. This is an actual version of the tool we refer to as MMMs. Let's break this down. Y subscript T represents sales at time step T. E to the power of trend, seasonality, cyclical effects accounts for time-varying effects in our market. These terms in turn have their own mappings to capture phenomena like the day of the week or day of the month effects. The product term signifies that we multiply our expenditure variables, capturing the synergies discussed earlier. The second product term implies that we include expenditure from previous time steps, allowing us to consider the impact of yesterday's expenditure on today's sales. And beta K represents saturation, helping us comprehend how saturated a marketing entity is. And spend denotes our marketing expenditure for a specific marketing entity K at time step T. In essence, all the effects we discussed earlier are encapsulated in this mathematical formula. In the end, we're dealing with an equation that's basically a mystery waiting to be solved. We got these parameters like beta K, trend, seasonality in our mapping, and the catch is, we don't really know what they are. To find these parameter values, we will factor in our historical data. However, the detailed process of achieving this is beyond the scope of this presentation. But it's important to note that we approach it in a probabilistic manner, incorporating uncertainty into our parameters. This uncertainty subsequently aids us in optimizing expenditure by providing a more nuanced understanding of the potential outcomes and risks associated with different budget plans. Furthermore, it is important to notice that not one model fits you all. Some of you may have heard of the no free lunch theorem, and is definitely applicable here. Some of you have businesses which see spikes during weekends, some after the paydates, and some of you see spikes in effectiveness in sales during the warmer months of the year. In our algorithm, we run a vast amount of different models and find the best one based on your specific data. Creating meaningful mappings between expenditure and sales and media mix models comes with several challenges, each of which plays a crucial role in shaping the effectiveness of these models. We have multicollinearity sometimes. This challenge arises when the expenditures of different marketing entities are correlated. Many advertisers tend to adjust budgets in sync or allocate funds from one channel to another, making it difficult for models to distinguish the individual effectiveness of each expenditure. We're also dealing with a low signal-to-noise ratio environment. So, in the realm of media mix models, the environment is complex, and consumer behavior is inherently heterogeneous. The unpredictability and randomness in sales, influenced by various external factors which we cannot account for in our model, can overshadow the actual signal or real sales that would have occurred, making it challenging to isolate the impact of marketing expenditure, as it can be hard to pick up on patterns in the data. Sometimes we're also dealing with endogeneity issues. So this challenge involves the difficulty in determining causation between variables. For example, in scenarios where the budget for paid search is unconstrained and Google adjusts the budget according to demand, it becomes challenging to discern whether the increased conversions are a result of an increase in baseline sales or the augmented expenditure. Sometimes we're also dealing with very low variance in expenditure in our historical data. So advertisers often conduct experiments infrequently, and when they do, the changes in expenditure are often applied over short periods with a constant increase or decrease. this limited experimentation can hinder the ability to understand the true impact of varying expenditure on sales. These challenges represent the standard difficulties that marketers encounter when striving to comprehend marketing effectiveness through media mix models. In our case, additional challenges may emerge, but there are also opportunities to tackle some of these issues due to our automated daily decision-based approach. In our specific context, we encounter additional challenges and considerations. Sometimes we're dealing with a zero-inflated response. So some customers exhibit a zero-inflated response, meaning that on many days they receive zero conversions. Alternatively, customers might experience sporadic bursts of conversions with minimal baseline activity, which we refer to as an over-dispersed response. We're also dealing with customers' constraints sometimes. So advertisers may impose specific constraints, such as a minimum spending requirement on platforms like Facebook or Google. We're also dealing with stochastic costs. So the proposed budgets sent to platforms like Facebook or Google may not accurately reflect the actual spend. For example, if we allocate $100 budget to Google, the actual expenditure may end up being $115. While these platforms claim they can increase or decrease proposed budgets by 100%, the absurd difference in our studies is minimal for campaigns where we control the budget. We're also dealing with cold starts sometimes. So this scenario occurs when customers have no historical data and wish to start fresh with their advertising. Determining how to optimize expenditure and minimize testing becomes crucial in such cases. Moreover, the most critical aspect in our context is that we're dealing with an optimization problem rather than just an analytics problem. While we have discussed how to map the marketing expenditure to sales and the dynamics within this environment, we have not addressed the crucial aspect of proposing budgets to maximize conversions. Daily updates and a sequential-based decision approach, where data is continuously gathered, decisions are made, and the process repeats, are vital to addressing many challenges related to modeling marketing response. However, this optimization-focused approach introduces new challenges, such as effective decision-making on exploring new, previously untested expenditures and striking a balance between exploration and the primary goal of maximizing conversions. This sets the stage for the upcoming session, where we will delve into sequential decision optimization. Marketing mix models are widely employed in large companies, and the conventional MMM approach, commonly implemented in such context, often results in quarterly or even yearly budget plans. Estimations are subsequently reviewed in subsequent quarters or years. This approach is pragmatic in the traditional MMM setting, especially when dealing with offline channels like radio or TV, where budget plans are required over a more extended horizon. In our case, however, working with digital platforms, we recognize numerous benefits associated with performing daily recalculations and updates. Furthermore, in contrast to traditional MMM usage, we explicitly tackle the exploration versus exploitation dilemma, which helps us tackling many of the issues related to media mix modeling. More details on this will be covered in the next webinar. I thought I'd give a little overview of important things to know with regards to this product. So, first of all, we consider a campaign segmentation, meaning that we allocate a central budget between campaigns. I assume you heard about a platform budget allocator, but we refrain from this idea since there are several reasons why a channel-based segmentation is not the best choice, and also why an ad set/ad group segmentation is not the best choice. This is discussed in the preprint of the report. We will also roll out some tests for clients that we handpick based on previous expenditure, certain attributes, sectors, etc. We obviously work with this problem continuously, and I want to really point out that extrapolation is difficult. This means that if you're previously just spent between 10,000 and 20,000 Swedish kronor per year, it will be really hard to predict what your return on ad spend will be at 50,000 a year. And also, it may take time to see improvements. In a lot of cases, expenditure has not varied at all or very little, and in those cases, it is crucial to experiment with new budgets, and this may lead to lagging improvements. In the upcoming session, we will delve into essential aspects of analytics in marketing. Specifically, we will explore the distinctions between correlation and causation, and how causal graphs can be employed to interpret the marketing environment. illustrating the cause and effect relationships from expenditure to sales. Additionally, we will tackle the concept of exploration versus exploitation, or in other words, when and how should we experiment with new budgets for different marketing entities, and when we should use the information we have now as to just optimize sales without explicitly learning about the environment. We will discuss how we strive to strike a balance between these two within the realm of sequential decision optimization. Thank you.